Good afternoon and happy Friday to everyone. So glad to see so many of our parents and staff that are on. And of course, we are here to talk about reentry. Um, I do want to let you know that this is being recorded. So if you have some colleagues or other parents that you know that will be a part of today, that will miss today's meeting, please make sure that you send this out to them. We will actually, it's probably not going to take as long as I thought that it was, but just want to give you a heads up and some information about how we plan to do our entering for second semester. All right. So the purpose today is to make sure that we provide all stakeholders with information regarding when and how Ivy Prep will reopen. We actually we considered the current health guidance and feedback from the community as well. And today we're going to present the strategic action plan to ensure the safety and well-being of our staff, scholars, and families. So a lot of times you have seen with different schools that there are about um, 4 or 5 phases. Actually, Ivy has six. So today we're going to talk about the 6 phases. We're also going to talk about the action steps by the departments, next steps, and then we'll have a Q&A as well. So as we discussed our reopening task force, we actually had some representatives from the different stakeholder groups. We had a sixth and an eighth grader from our scholars. We also had 4 parents that were on our stakeholder group. Actually, it was six. I'm sorry, it's 5 and 6. I apologize. And staff, we had 2 administrators and 2 teachers, and then community members. Someone from one of our board members, Kia Tootle, actually works with the Department of Health, and Anthony Bostic with Chris Kids. All right. So as you can see, this is what the DOE has provided to us in the Department of Health around district guidance. We look at substantial spread, minimal spread, and low spread, minimum to moderate. And so this is very important when we talk about the colors. Red is substantial, yellow is minimum, and low spread is green. All right, so hopefully you all received the letter that I sent out yesterday. And so I want to talk about the different phases for you. As I told the teachers and explained to them, of course, we were not looking to be at home the entire year. And, again, this model is actually very fluid, meaning that, it could change at any time. It's just depending on where we are and how the virus is impacting our numbers. So as you can see, the first phase, which is what we're in now, and today is the last day for that, we've been in remote learning for 18 weeks, 5 days. And so as our staff, when we come back from the holidays, January 4th through the 22nd, we will be back in phase two. In phase two, we'll be in the red as well. We'll be remote. We want to make sure that we give the time for if there's any type of incubation period or anything of that nature. We want to make sure that we have that in the books for our staff and scholars. So we don't want anyone in the building at that time. Phase three, which is January 25th through February 26th, our staff will be in a hybrid model, meaning that they will be in the building 2 days and then they'll be 3 days remote. Our learning environment for the scholars will continue with remote learning, and then the scholar days will also be 5 days remote learning. We're bringing the teachers in. We'll split the teachers up so all of them are not in the building at the same time. We have about 60 staff members, so they will be spread out. They all will not be here on the same days. So we might have one group coming Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Mondays and Fridays, and then another group might be coming let's say Tuesdays and Thursdays. With phase 4, which will be March 1st through April 2nd, we will be in a hybrid environment. Our staff will be 4 days in the building and 1 day remote. At that time, we're going to bring our scholars in March 1st. March 1st. We'll do 2 days face to face and 3 days remote. We'll continue with the Wednesday remote learning, asynchronous. And then we have spring break. And spring break is April 5th through the 9th. And we'll be out that week. When we come back on the 12th, we want to go back into a remote learning phase for 2 weeks. We'll have appointments scheduled. Everyone will be remote. So I want to make sure that I'm clear about that. Again, that whole incubation period as well. And then for phase 6, April 26th, which we are keeping our fingers crossed, we'll be able to be back in the building for 6 weeks for 5 days face to face in the building. So we tried to take into consideration the different holidays that were with us. And also, when you look at our Georgia milestone testing, which is May 17th through the 28th, normally milestones is a week. This year, we're making it 10 days so that we don't have to bring so many scholars in the building at once during that time. And also, students cannot take the Georgia milestones at home. It has to be done here in the building per state regulations. So again, we have 6 phases. Phase 2, right after we get back from the holidays, will be remote. Phase 3, January 25th through the 26th, scholars will still be remote. Teachers will be in 2 days out the week. And then phase 4, teachers will be in 4 days a week, and then scholars will come in 2 days face to face, spring break. And then we will have phase 5, which will be total remote, again, allowing for more incubation period after spring break. And then we'll be in the building 6 weeks during this time. All right, so just some updates, just some action steps that we're doing. For health and safety, we're providing signage to support our safety practices. Of course, face masks will be required. Our staff members will be using face shields as well. We'll be practicing social distancing 6 feet from others. We actually have those markers in the hallway already. We're expecting children to wash their hands and sanitize very often. And again, we'll have directional cues in the hallway. So we'll have directions of which way scholars can go as they're moving about throughout the school. We also will not allow any type of public use for the building. That'll be limited until phase 5. And then also we'll be providing continuous communication to our parents to support the safety protocols. All right, so for HVAC, we are working to increase the ventilation in accordance to CDC and industry recommendations. That's a very large task as well as very expensive, but we do take this seriously. We want to make sure that we are ready to receive our scholars. We're continuing to perform quarterly filter changes and maintenance schedules. Also, we've entered into a contract with the HVAC company to ensure that they are inspecting monthly those HVAC systems. We've also installed plexiglass partition, which we'll call sneeze guards, at the reception desk and public facing workspaces. We have about 8 hand sanitizing stations in the building. We are also installing bottle fill stations at the water fountain. So we ask that scholars bring their water bottles. We will not be using the water fountain as we normally do. We have bottle filling stations on the water fountains. Also, flushing the water system regularly, continuous disinfecting for our students. So each day, or Monday, Tuesdays, Thursday, and Friday, we'll be sanitizing. And the reason the building will be closed on Wednesday is because it'll be a deeper cleaning. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. We actually have a sprayer that actually covers the building. It covers in about 2 hours. We can get that done as far as with the spray and sanitizing. And again, we are continuing to make sure that our staff understand the proper protocols for cleaning and sanitizing. But again, I want to stress that we will definitely have the building sanitized um, 4 days a week, and then on Wednesdays it'll be a deeper clean. For nutrition, we will still have the grab and go option for scholars. We also will continue to allow our virtual scholars to pick up their meals twice per week. Meals will be charged based on their eligibility status, and prepayments are strongly encouraged. I want to say that we are not equipped right now to take cash. So we are asking that you please make sure that you pay online. It's just not feasible for us at this moment to take cash, and we want to make sure that we're following our protocols as well. Um, we also want to let you know that we will not allow outside food. So that is something we had been previously not doing. We were doing before, but we're stressing that as well with the nutrition department. We just don't know about the food that's coming in and out. So we want to make sure that we have the food provided by our school nutrition program. So phase 1, 2, and 3 will be grab and go meals. In phase 4, when the scholars come back in the building, it'll be grab and go as well. We'll actually be we have purchased carts for the hallways for students to pick up their food. They will eat in classrooms at that time, and then we will move towards bringing them into the cafeteria. Again, in phase 4, we will have the option. We're going to split the scholars up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, where they will not, there will be no more than 12 students in a class. So I want to make sure that I stress that each day. There'll be no more than 12 students in a classroom. For IT, we have moved to where we will only be repairing and replacing devices by appointment only. And that'll be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We became very inundated with repairs, replacements, those types of things. And so the appointment schedule will be on the school's website, where you'll be able to sign up for that. So we're no longer doing a drop in for device assistance or repair. You'll have to make an appointment for that. And then that'll be on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. During phase 4, when scholars come into the building, they will need to bring their devices. Even if it's a school device or a personal device, they will need to bring that into the building for hybrid learning. And then the device repair during that time will actually take place on the day the scholar is in the building only. Okay. The IT department will be working on those devices during the first, the second, third, and fifth phases, only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And also phase 6, we're asking scholars to bring their devices as well. As you know, school just is not what it will continue to what it's been before. We have to look at school a little bit differently. And now that we've been able to operate in this remote space, the good thing is we know now how we can utilize technology, and it's effective. So I want to make sure that you all understand that school, like when we call out and say, hey, it's not a snow day, we're having a snow day, school will continue because we've been in this virtual space. It's not a day off. We'll be able to do school differently. And that's what I've told the staff. We'll just be doing school a little bit differently now. Also, scholars have to log in with their IV emails. If they do not have their email address, please make sure that you email IT. We'll be able to supply that for you, and they have to use their devices in the class. That's why we're bringing that. We will no longer be using paper. When scholars are in the building, we'll be doing everything uploading by the actual computer. So books will be digitized. You'll learn a little bit more about Aristotle. It's a program that we have that will ensure the safety and security of the devices as well. And during phase 4, when we talk about hybrid, so the scholars will have to log in. When they are not in the building, they will still log in for live instruction. Okay. So it's not at home doing asynchronous work. And when we say synonymous, the teachers will be teaching the students in front of them in the classroom as well as the students that are virtual. So we'll have devices for them to use for their cameras, but I want to make sure that everyone knows it's not a day off. Students will still get 4 days of instruction. So for academics, our scholars will be divided into two groups by their last names. Siblings will be assigned by the older siblings' last name. So we'll keep the siblings together, but it will be based on the oldest sibling's last name. So some students might come on Mondays and Fridays, some or Mondays and Tuesdays, and then others might come Thursday, Friday. It just depends based on the numbers we have after the survey is sent out. We also are going to make sure that we take into account sibling preference as we are creating those schedules for our scholars. Classrooms are currently only prepped for 12 scholars per day. So again, there will only be 12 scholars in the classroom every day, face to face, when they're here during phase 4. Phase 5, if we ever get to that, I'm sorry, phase 6, if we get to full day face to face, I want to make sure that everyone knows we will have regular instruction. And so the numbers will be up to 22 to 25 students in a class, and that is later in April. Our desks are currently 6 feet apart and we are separating them. Each desk will have a sneeze guard on the desk. Scholars will be actually have assigned seating, and this helps us with contact tracing so that we'll know exactly where students were, who they could have been exposed to, if there's any type of exposure that happens in the building as well. Directional arrows will continue to be placed in the hallway, and the restrooms will actually have um, some signs on it to let us know if there are too many people in the restroom. We're going to manage that as well. Our younger babies like to go to the restroom as a class, and that is something we will not be able to do. Again, our scholars will be engaged in synchronous lessons 4 days per week. So it's not they're in the building 2 days and then at home they're doing work on their own. They're on every day except for Wednesdays. I want to make sure I stress that. And we'll also have digital books available, such as novels. And again, assignments will be completed online and submitted online as well. So when we talk about operations and just some procedural things, arrival will be from 7:30 to 7:55. Scholars that arrive after 8 o'clock during phase 4 will not be allowed in the building. They'll have to join their classes virtual because our staff will move into classrooms as well as being able to manage the day-to-day operations. So if you arrive after 8 o'clock, you will not be allowed in the building. Um, Scholar temperatures will be taken while in the car, and they'll be recorded daily. So scholars will not be allowed to exit the cars during morning arrival without their temperatures being checked. And we are working on an actual app program or an app that will allow us to record that information as well. If a scholar has a temperature in the arrival line, they will not be allowed in the school building. So we want to make sure that we're taking this very seriously and we're protecting our scholars and our staff members here at Ivy. If a scholar does experience any type of symptoms, we currently have 2 isolation rooms and a nurse will contact you to pick your child up, your scholar. If a scholar or a staff member tests positive for COVID, scholars and the staff will be quarantined for 14 days and return on the 15th day. The guidance that has been given to us is saying now 7 to 10 days. Ivy is going to stick with 14, and they'll return on the 15th day. We don't know a lot about this virus, and we want to make sure that we keep everybody safe. So that's going to definitely be a part of how we handle any type of COVID exposure. If I'm sorry, that's for positive. So if a scholar or staff member is exposed, they'll quarantine for 10 days and return on the 11th day. But if they actually have the virus, then they have to be quarantined for 14. Parents and staff will definitely be emailed or called notifying of exposures or cases daily. Ms. Brown, I do see your hand up. We're going to take questions at the end. If you'd like to place that in the chat, you can. Ms. Griffith is available to answer questions as well as Mr. Bolton. Early dismissals, we'll send more information out about that. If we do have an early dismissal, you have to email the front office. We're no longer taking those paper with written notes, that type of thing. And parents will actually not be allowed or permitted in the building for checkout. We'll bring the scholar to the door, and they'll be able to exit that way when we're in phase 4. We ask that scholars are picked up daily before 3:30. And scholars that are not picked up by 3:30, you'll get actually 3 chances. And if you're not picked up by 3:30, you will forfeit your in-person instruction during that time. And then during phase 6, all scholars will be in person face-to-face. Okay. So next step. So today we're explaining the plan. On January 15th, we are going to send out a declaration of intent, meaning a survey will go out to you. You'll decide if you want to remain virtual this entire time and not even have your scholars return. But remember, phase 6, we're expecting all students to be in the building. But you'll receive that on the 15th, and then that is going to actually close on January 22nd. So you will have to declare that it's going to be either they're going to be hybrid or they'll be virtual. Again, remember phase 6, we're expecting everyone to be in the building. If your declaration is not made by January 22nd, your scholar will automatically be moved to virtual learning until April 23rd. We want to make sure that we keep our numbers down, as we said, 12 in the classroom. And then we also want to make sure that we are planning effectively. Hopefully you've seen the work that we've put in during this time has been model, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of planning that has to happen as we're doing this work. So we want to make sure that our team is ready and prepared to receive scholars. You will receive notification of the scheduled day that you'll have on February 5th. So you'll know whether your scholar is coming on Mondays and Tuesdays or Thursdays and Fridays or Mondays and Fridays, however that works. You'll be able to do that. You'll be notified by February 5th. And every Friday, I will actually sponsor a town hall just to provide you with some updates, and it'll be at 12 o'clock on Fridays. That will actually start the 8th when we get back. So you'll just get an update from me, and I ask that you join, and please make sure that you ask questions at that time as well. During phase 5, scholars will be remote. So please remember that we'll continue in that virtual space. I want to make sure that you all understand that in phase 5, after spring break, we'll be virtual. And again, I want to make sure that everybody understands that this plan is very fluid. It could change at any time. I ask that you log in to Infinite Campus daily. We'll place information out there for Infinite Campus, in Infinite Campus, to answer any questions that you might have or provide any type of notices to you as well. But again, the numbers could possibly change again. And right now, we can't have students in the building because the numbers are so high. And I know that other districts are moving and bringing scholars in. I personally do not want to make that risk in exposing our scholars and our teachers. So that's why we pushed it back to March 1st, when scholars will enter the building. Okay, hopefully by then, if the actual vaccine is available, we'll see numbers decrease. But again, they will not be in the building until March 1st. I want to make sure that I'm clear on that as we protect our scholars. And the numbers do not justify us being in the building. They do not justify us being in the building.
Dr. Nichols, I would like to also try to let our parents know we really want you all to sign up for this free thermometer that is going out through the frequency program. It will definitely help you save on gas if your child has a fever before you leave the house, because as Dr. Nichols explained, we will not let them into the building or even out of the car if they have a fever when we arrive to the building. So all you have to do is text Fluency, FLUENCY, to 900-900. You will get a free thermometer from the program, and it's Kensa. We are using it as staff members here, and it's a small little thermometer. You can put it in your purse, and it is very, very valuable to you and to us.
Yes, and it's free. Someone asked in the chat, will we have before care? We will not have before care. We will not have before care during phase 4. We will when it comes to phase 6. Okay. We will still have aftercare with the YMCA and after school all-stars, but I want everybody to remember that it is just for those scholars that are in the building that particular day. So when we're in phase 4, you will be able to have after school care, but after that, if you come on Mondays and Fridays, then you will be able to have after school care. But after that, you will not. Okay. Ms. Griffith will type in the information about the temperature, the thermometer, and it's an actually app on your phone. So Ms. Griffith, if you could just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All righty. So I did that in 26 minutes. So at this time, if I can, I'll take some questions. And if I don't get to you, please put it in the chat. And remember that, I'll be on every Friday at 12 o'clock. So you can definitely ask those questions. Please make sure that you email me if you have questions as well. All right, so let's see who we have some questions. Miss Hassan. Miss Griffith, can we mute Miss Hassan? Go ahead, Miss Hassan.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. So I joined in a little late. So I don't know if you already addressed this, but I came in when you were talking about there won't be any books or any paper. So with the younger scholars, how are we going to do, handwriting?
So let me say this. When we say paper, Ms. Hassan, we mean we're not going to give out paper and children turning in that type of thing. They'll still be able to use your notebooks or writing tablets, but we will not be passing out papers and students turning them back in.
Okay.
We'll have at every desk, we'll have sneeze guards. So the children are getting up, the teachers are getting up. And moving around, which we'll be working with the teachers a lot with. We want to protect everyone, and again, our teachers will be in.
Okay, and then can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so how's it going to work with the teachers? So they're going to teach the in-person students and virtual at the same time, simultaneously?
Yes, okay. It'll be synonymous teaching.
Okay. Yep. So even if we elect to do virtual, they're still going to be in there with their.
It wouldn't be. Some schools have done, if they come on like Mondays and Fridays, then the students on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Wednesday, they have a lesson to complete on their own. We don't want to do that.
Right.
We want them to continue to have live instruction. So it's important scholars are on every day and that they're in the class, because again, it's going to be just as it is right now. Teachers continue to, so if you miss a day, it's just like regular school. You wouldn't miss a day.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Doc.
No problem. Thank you, Ms. Hassan. Ms. Evans, I see your questions. Yes, the students will be picked at random, but again, remember, we talked about the siblings having preference. We're going to put them together first. and also our students with disabilities, because we want to make sure that we're maximizing the instructional program for them as well. But the students will be picked at random. At this point, with managing 515 kids, it's going to be hard for everybody to give us our preference and say, hey, I want my kid to come on, I want my scholar to come on Mondays and Fridays. It's just difficult for that. So there will not, yes, there will be before and after care in phase 6. Yes, Ms. Claxton. All right, I've got.
Ms. Claxton also asked earlier about the 7:30 to 3:30 time frame for school.
Okay, yes, it will be 7:30 to 3 o'clock. We finish at 3, and the latest that a scholar can be picked up is 3. Actually, we want to say 3:20 because our teachers get off at 3:30. But again, remember, you get 3 opportunities. If a scholar is picked up late after 3:30, 3 times, then they will move into virtual instruction and will forfeit their opportunity to do face-to-face.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let Ms. Brown speak now.
Okay, hi, Ms. Brown.
Hi. My question is, my daughter, I work, so my daughter, she be with her aunt, and all her 3 girls go to the Ivy too, but their last name is different from my daughter's. How can we do that when they're all on the same day so that she can be picked up and dropped off at the same time? So I won't have to try to
So
figure out.
what we'll do if that's the case, when you receive your declaration of intent, note that in there for us.
Okay. Okay, so just note that
And we
she
have to
need to
make
be.
sure, here's the thing too, Ms. Brown, what we have to look at, we have to make sure that we have proof of that, right? Because everybody might want to say, I want my child to come on Tuesdays and Thursdays and not Mondays and Fridays. So we'll look at everything on a case-by-case basis. Ms. Meredith and Ms. Green, as well as Ms. Harris Harvey, is going to take every child and schedule. It's just
Well, I don't care what day she comes on. I just want to make sure she's on the same days as her sister, so they can be all together. Because I won't be able to. One person picks. She'll be with one person the whole time.
Absolutely.
Like, so if her sisters are on Tuesday and Thursdays, and their last name is with T, and her last name is Brown, I want her to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays with them instead of her being on Mondays and Fridays. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. So just note that in your intent.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as I said, we're going to work with this individually. We're working around the clock.
Okay.
Okay. And Miss Beth, hey, Miss Beth, I had opportunity to work with Danasha in coding on Monday. But yes, temps will be checked phase 6. It's no different with the arrival and dismissal. Not at all.
All right, Ms. Richardson. Are you able to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry. How are you, Dr. Nichols?
Hi, Ms. Richardson.
So, as you know, I have 2 granddaughters, one in 1st grade and one in 3rd grade. And I know you said the siblings will have first choice. My question, however, is we've been trying to get their computers fixed. And my daughter has been calling today trying to get in to make an appointment for next year to get their computers fixed. So how will that go? Because both of theirs are down and they've been using my personal computers.
Ms. Griffith and Mr. Bolton, you all can speak to that.
Well, we've been available today, so I'm not sure what number she's calling. However, if you send IT an email, we will definitely follow up with you.
Okay, and what's that email address? Just
IT@ivyprepacademy.org.
Okay, I'll tell her to do that now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Are the girls able to bring in water? Like, I know you said they won't be able to bring in outside stuff, but like if we wanted to bring in cases of waters for the girls so that they can have water, is that still okay?
Absolutely. We will definitely welcome that.
Do you have a preference of the size of the big ones or the little ones? Do you guys have a preference or?
We don't. When we think about the younger scholars, we try not to give them as much water.
Yes, ma'am.
But yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Yes, phase 4, we will have after school all-stars. Someone did ask that. And right now, somebody asked about school issue laptops. So I guess this is a perfect time to talk about that. Let me say this. We had 460 laptops, 460, and we've repaired about 120. Am I right, Ms. Griffith and Mr. Bolton? And to repair a laptop is between $90 and $100. Right now, we don't have any laptops, additional laptops, as we're waiting for those to be repaired. But we're running into a challenge where, we can't always pay for things to get repaired, but we are asking our parents to make sure that the scholars are definitely taking care of the devices. We've had bleach poured on. Some people have sent devices in and say they don't know what happened. Bleach has been poured on them. I'm being honest. And they also have had keys have been burned off. Burned. I don't know how that happens. Okay, Mr. Bolton said at least 135 have been repaired. The average cost has been $75 to $100. They've also been handled where they just hold the device at the top on the screen instead of holding it at the base. And so that has damaged the bottom of them. We purchased 150 brand new devices, brand new. And we continue to get cracked screens. We continue to get, again, bleach, keys being burned off. I really, really hope that parents, you will definitely talk with your scholars about handling the devices and making sure that they are handling it appropriately. Because what happens is when we have to repair the device, we don't have anything to give you as we're trying to get the repair, and repair is not done on site. We have to get someone come pick up the laptops and then take them back. So it's very hard, and very unfortunate that it's just as a result sometimes of children just being careless and not practicing good habits with the devices. So right now we don't have any more devices. We're hoping that we'll get some back from being repaired after the holidays. So I know those that some people, I think someone wrote in there that they want to get a device. If that's the case, they were using it. I would tell you to make sure that you email IT so that you can get on the list to get a device. Okay. Did we have any other questions?
Yes, we have Ms. Daniels. One more.
Okay, Ms. Daniels.
Hi, ladies.
Hi there.
I was just wondering, is there a rule against getting the device serviced ourselves?
Yes, so the devices are purchased with our Title I dollars, which is a federal government grant, basically, to help our students with that are at risk, or that need more assistance. And so we're responsible for those devices. If they are, so even the repair of that, we have to handle, right? So if something happens to the device, we have to go to our inventory system saying it's not able to be used, and we are having to provide information about our device rotation with Title I, our federal program dollars. So that's why it's important for us to fix it correctly, and not, something that if we have to bring them back in to be used, we want to make sure that they're okay. And again, remember, we do have testing coming up, so we've got to use those devices too, which actually scares me because I don't know how devices going to look when they come back in the building. So I apologize about that, Ms. Daniels.
Oh, it's not a problem at all. I mean, nothing's wrong with ours. I was just wondering how we could take some of the expense off of the school.
Yeah, we were going to actually look into the insurance piece. I think DeKalb County has that or something, but they're a larger district, so the insurance deductible is a lot cheaper. It would have been a lot more expensive for us to put that on parents as well.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, Doc.
Same to you. Let's see. How do we sign up for aftercare? That will not be available until February. So that information will come out in February.
For those parents that are asking about scheduling your appointment for repairs and turning in your computers, I will upload the link right now. The appointment slots do not begin until January 5th. So once you click on the link, you'll just schedule your appointment there, okay? There are some questions that you'll need to answer when you schedule your appointment, okay?
And I want to say this too, you know, we've had some parents that have come in and we repaired devices twice. After 2 times, and they're different issues, it is just unbelievable. We can't continue to repair and can't continue to give those devices. Um, Unfortunately, you know, some of our parents have been a little disappointed and upset with us. But when you think about it, we're taking a device, repairing it, giving it back to you, and then we got to repair it again. We've already spent almost the amount of what the device cost to repair. So I want to make sure that parents, please make sure that you talk to your scholars about that and don't get upset with us in the office. We just have to protect our inventory. Um, and we have to make sure that scholars are being vigilant as they're using their devices and understand the care of those. I think about my son. He has a Surface Pro that we had to purchase at the school, and that's a $1,200 device. So they didn't give devices out. We had to purchase a device. So he is so responsible with his device right now because he knows I will hurt him if he does not take care of that device, because I've had to pay for that. And I'm sure that just for us, you know, as parents, we want to make sure that our scholars are taking care of it and actually showing responsibility for that. I can remember he actually left his $1,200 computers on a bench outside of the school. And it was 8 o'clock, and I went and got him. And I said, we're going to the school to make sure that that device was there. And guess what? It wasn't there. Somebody picked it up. So luckily they turned it in, but that's just how critical, you know, it is, and for our scholars to make sure they're showing that responsibility as it pertains to devices. All righty. Ms. Griffith, hold on the after school link for me, please. Especially for, we want to do that in January. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Charles. Ms. Lyons, you can go ahead.
Hey, Ms. Lyons. And yes, IT will fix cracked screens. I think Ms. Lyons had a question.
Can you hear me now?
I can. How you doing, Ms.
Okay.
Lyons?
I'm good. How are you?
You know we
Excuse
miss
the background noise. I'm at work in my class.
Okay.
But I had a question because my daughter has her own device, and I was just wondering if something happened to the device at the school, will you all still fix that, or is it a portion that I would have to pay to get the device fixed, or is the repair just for the Ivy supply devices?
We won't be responsible for fixing those devices,
Okay.
Ms. Lyons, but we can provide you with the vendor that we use for device repair.
Okay, she's pretty good at keeping it because, you know, I'm like you. My baby, I was like, okay now.
Yes, I don't even want to use the discuss, want to share the discussion I had about that at 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And we're talking about a 16-year-old. So, but
Okay.
thank you.
All right.
No problem.
Ms. Charles, to answer your question, all damaged devices that have gone out of the building, yes, everyone is responsible for paying for those damages.
And let me say this too. We've had some parents that haven't paid. And guess what? We've had to get them repaired so we can continue to have devices. But the challenge comes in, we don't give that parent another device. We will have another round. Let me say this. We were just given a grant, an $11,000 grant, and we're working with Inspire EDU. So if those parents, we do have an opportunity for parents to be a part of that round of devices. So we might be able to get some parents, some scholars devices that they will have as their own. So we are working on that for you too, but we just received an $11,000 grant to help pay for more devices and hopefully waiting on another grant. So, okay, so Ms. Moss, the mandatory in-person learning is phase 6. That's April 26th. So from, let me say this phase right here, March 1st through April 2nd, you can elect to stay all virtual or do hybrid. It's totally up to you. You can elect which one, but we won't flip flop. However, here at phase 6, we are requiring everyone to be in the building. Okay. Ms. Griffith, did we have any other questions?
Yes, we have Miss Bess.
Okay. Hey, Ms. Bess. You know I need to see your face, Ms. Bess.
You can't see my face. I'm driving. I'm in Marietta at that too.
Hey, Ms. Bess.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, it's about the phase 6 part because you're saying you're doing temperature. Now, mind you, you know I got 2 other kids that I will definitely have to take to school. So let's say I can get a doctor's note where my daughter don't return back to school till the new year, till the new school year. Would that be okay?
That's totally up to you. Again, remember Georgia Milestones is done face to face.
I
So
could let her go for that one.
well, we wouldn't allow, you can't flip flop. We would need to have her in the building. And again, remember, Miss Bess, this is very fluid. You know, I think about at my son's school, at Caleb's school, he's been quarantined 4 times. 4 times because of exposure, but that's on me because I allowed him to go back to school. He couldn't take any more at home time with me, but I let him go back to school. He's been quarantined 4 times, and he was supposed to have finals this week, but his school canceled finals because they had so many teachers out.
Okay.
With quarantining. So, you know, it's actually almost as if we all are in a space that we don't know, right? But we're trying to take the necessary steps to make sure we keep everybody safe. This has been a very, very trying time, let me say this, but I do know that the team has worked really hard as we prepare for scholars to come back. When I got the news about the cab coming back on in January, I just could not, my moral compass will not allow me to do that. The numbers do not say we need to be back in school.
Right, and that's why I'm asking about that because my daughter, but as you know, she's in Stone Mountain High. My son is in Tucker. So they both are supposed to return back to school on the 25th, which I know for a fact I'm not going to make that happen. I will get a doctor's note to prevent them from going. But with this whole phase 6 situation, that's my biggest concern because phase 6, I don't care. I'm still not comfortable. If I can't travel to the islands, my child can't come to school. I kind of prefer her to be at home. That's why I want to know if I could just get a note in phase 6. If we ever make it to phase 6, she just stays until, you know, next August.
Right. And it could change, Ms. Bess. You know, we might allow it to be virtual, but we have to test in person. And, you know, here's the other thing. When the new president takes over, we don't even know if we'll still be testing, you know, this year. We just don't. Right now we are, but it could change with the new Secretary of Education. So I just want everybody to realize that this is very fluid. Things could change. And I agree. I started keeping Caleb out 2 days, Ms. Beth, because I was tired of him being quarantined at home.
Right.
So again, phase 4, we will have aftercare, but not before care. Not before care. Only aftercare. Our vendors will not be able to provide before care.
Ms. Bess, do you have any other questions?
No, if I come up with anything, I'll send an email.
Okay. So you can always email me, Ms. Bess.
Ms. Richardson, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
My question is regarding the testing, and I'm sorry to come back with another question, but I work in a hospital, so I see the numbers trending up. So if by the time testing comes along, and I know you said earlier that you cannot test in the home, what will be our answer?
So we're actually waiting on more guidance from the state. Um,
Okay.
when you think about it, Miss Richardson, you know, when we look at virtual schools, right? You've
Mm-hmm.
got Georgia Cyber Academy that has 14,000 students,
Okay.
14,000, and they have 8,000 just in high school.
Okay.
Some of those schools in the past have rented hotel ballrooms
Wow. Okay.
for children to test in,
Okay.
right? Because they don't have a regular brick and mortar school. It's not a regular school, so they have to go somewhere, you know,
Okay.
to test. So it's just we're waiting on more guidance. I cannot speak to whether you know that's an option. The only problem we have is we don't have enough staff to monitor. I know that's one thing. You know, people at home, we just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good friend that's a principal in Fulton County. Right after Thanksgiving, 9 teachers called out.
Right. Right. My
And
concern,
so that's
yeah,
the
and
problem. You know, we
again, my concern is that I'm at a hospital. I'm at Grady.
mhm,
So I see, and I'm very careful with my girls, even though they go to daycare. They have been one of the few children that have been at daycare because the daycare is only allowing so many children. So
mhm,
we're very careful where we're putting them because just because of me, my status of
mhm.
being in the hospital. So I'm just trying to go along and figure this thing out. But with this third grader having testing this year, and you just said if they have to test somewhere. And I'm like, okay, but if these
Mhm.
numbers are still going up, what are we gonna
Yeah.
do? Because I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the real numbers
Mhm.
as opposed to the 3-month numbers. I'm looking at the daily numbers.
I totally understand, Miss Richardson. I mean, again, it's new for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we can't stay unless we have a shutdown,
Mm-hmm.
as we did before. That's
Mm-hmm.
when the school will be shut down.
Okay.
Shut down if there's a state mandated shutdown. So that's why I
Okay.
said it's fluid. Like legally, we can't open if it's not. When the state lifted that, we were
Mm-hmm.
able. That's why schools went back.
Mm-hmm. And I
But
thank you for your moral compass of not bringing them back when the cab opened up. I really, you have no idea, because I was like, I don't know about these kids, these girls going to school.
and you know, the other piece is I think that scholars are trying to get used to this, and the younger babies are having a hard time with virtual learning. But I
Yeah, I
see,
have a first grader and a third grader, so they are struggling, but I would rather them struggle than have COVID.
yeah, yeah, I understand. I totally understand. Thank you so much, Ms. Richardson, for being honest with me. I see it every day. Again, remember I told you my son has been quarantined 4 times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Four
Yeah,
times.
my girls, unfortunately, my girls, they haven't been able to go anywhere, do anything that they want to do, but I have to be real with them and let them know the situation and what's going on. So rather than, us inventing stuff for them to do in the house with their mom or myself or whoever, we would rather do that than to be somewhere in a hospital and them trying to learn from a hospital bed.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Richardson.
And thank you again.
No problem. I see Ms. Harris, you had a question. So when we talk about tours right now, we're not able to do that. It wouldn't happen in phase 3 or phase 4, but what we will do again, when the scholars come in the building after the temperature checks, we'll be able to direct them. We'll have staff here to be able to direct them. Again, we want to make sure that we are protecting the scholars and just not having visitors at that time. We do have online, though. Let me say this: we have online an actual virtual tour you can look at for inside the building if you're interested. But we will not let your baby get lost. We promise you, Miss Harris. We will definitely take care of your scholar.
I also want to just make sure that all the parents that are online and parents, if you have any other parents that you know whose scholars attend Ivy, please stress and ask them to sign up for our newsletter that goes out bi-weekly, as well as our school-wide class dojo. I update that daily, 3 or 4 times. I know you guys might get tired of it, but we're trying to make sure that we're sending out as much communication and keeping you guys aware of what is going on here. Myself, Ms. Aponte, we also update the class dojo, share our social media pages. We update that as well. Just try to stay as connected to us as possible. Check our website. Give us a call, send us an email. I'm always available by email, probably much better than by phone. So just try to keep connected to us as much as possible.
Absolutely. And you all know I'll email you back. I just want to make sure that everybody feels good about where we are right now. It's not going to make everybody happy, but it is going to make people safe for right now. And just bringing the scholars in right now, just not comfortable. I had a conversation with my mom this morning, and she was saying that she wanted to take the vaccine, and I'm so leery about that with her taking the vaccine as well. But it's all our individual decision around that. And so where we are with our scholars, again, we have to consider that, even with our teachers. We've got some teachers that might not be able to be in the building. We just do. But we're making we're working around the clock. I probably won't even have a good holiday break because I'll be working. But just bear with us, and just be patient with us, and to keep us in your thoughts, because we're making decisions that impact over 500 children and over 60 staff members. So that responsibility is very heavy, and it's also always susceptible to being criticized, or making sure, trying to get people to understand that what we're doing, but we're trying to do the best we can. And thank you, Ms. Bronner. Thank you so much. So if we don't have any more questions, I'll actually send out the point for you, along with the recording, Ms. Griff. It'll be posted online. And again, every Friday, I'm going to be available at 12 o'clock. So you'll be able to have some conversation and dialogue with me. Just register and I'll be here. All right. Well, thank you. Everyone have a happy holiday and stay safe. Mask up, please. And we will see you all on January 4th. Have a good one. Bye-bye.